Hey, welcome back to Pursuing Me with Sharita. This episode is all about tapping into your higher self. Guys, I have a special guest joining me today. Let's welcome Michael. Welcome.
Thank you. And I thank you much for welcoming me. And secondly, I'd like to say I didn't know I was special because everyone is special. But thanks for having me here. And I definitely will oblige you in speaking with you on topics and things like that.
Thank you for being here.
No problem.
I'm so excited to have you join me on this Pursuing Me podcast. This is my very first guest. Woo, woo, woo. This episode was focused on tapping into your higher self. What it means, how we access it, and how to live from the place of truth.
That's a wonderful topic, and that's the pretty much the ideal purpose that man and woman I speak of should be in search for and quest for while they have time to live on this planet.
Thank you. Guys, as you follow us, please feel free to reflect, jot down notes, because Mr. Michael is going to give you some gems, okay? Because I already know. Or just show up ready for a meaningful conversation between the two of us. So guys, I know when him and I have conversations off the mic, it could get a little, it could go on. It could get out of this world. So today, we're going to stay a course, okay?
I mean,
we're going to try to stay a course.
I would try to, but I just want to say that it's only one truth. And that one truth can be explained or expressed in many different ways. So it can stray off course, but then it will come back because it's only one truth.
Gotcha. So I am ready. I'm ready to dive in.
So am I.
So
am I.
My number one question is defining the higher self, right? In your own words, how do you define the higher self?
Okay. Before I answer that question, which I will to the best of my abilities, I would just want to make one thing straight, just to, as you said, my name is Michael, and that's correct, but I also deal with the attributes of Zervan Lucien Michael, and I believe that's very important for somebody to list their attributes because attributes are names that people take on, and names hold titles, and titles hold duties that one is supposed to do or they will be fulfilling. So that's the attribute, and I won't go all into the explanation of those words, but I very welcome you to search up those words and their meanings, and that lets you know what I'm about and what I'm here to do. But yeah, can you repeat the question?
So we're going to go back to that initial question.
Right.
How do you define, in your words, higher self?
Oh, wow. Well, the higher self is just an aspect of man. Now, when I mention man for this conversation, I'm speaking about mankind. So that's male and female. But to keep from saying both of them every time, I just say man as in human being, mankind. So the higher self dwells in all man. And the higher self is what the human has supposed to work on to in their own self to become tapped into the source which created you. The source beyond your physical parents, your mother and father, but go to the source of that births all things. That's a good explanation of the higher self.
Look, I told y'all he gonna get into it and give us some gems, and we is just diving in.
Yeah,
so That was in your own words. So
correct.
here's another question that I have for you following.
Yeah.
How does it differ from the ego or the inner critic? Your higher self. How does it differ? How is it different from your ego or your inner critic?
Well, that's getting like it's kind of like a paradox, where though most things are, or all things are very much a paradox. Like I said, there's only one truth, so you can really not all of those things, even your what you say, like your ego or the critic in yourself versus the higher self. It's really no differentiation because they all are under one roof. They all are under one ruling. So, like, one cannot be separate from God, and God is not separate from no one. But at the same time, your higher self rules these things, as you mentioned, the ego and the self-critic. They are above that. So, when you're dealing with the higher self, you are not dealing from a place of, like, say, for example, an individual state. An individual state would be the ego, whereas though a higher self would be that which makes the ego, or that which controls the ego.
Okay.
That is just pure, unadulterated, no differentiation, like straight through like that.
Got you. I'm coming through with these questions because I know you're going to give it to us all.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys are listening.
These are some good questions. I may say they're very.
I thank you.
Very,
thank you.
Yeah.
So here's another one for you. I created this interview personally for you.
Yeah, I bet you did. Yeah.
What does being disconnected from your higher self look like and feels like?
Wow.
Like, how does that feel? What does that look like? Because I'm sure before you tapped into you,
Yeah.
there was a you before that. So what does that? And you can give it to me short and sweet. We don't have to make it a whole.
Right.
You could give it to me short and sweet. But what does that look or even feel like?
Well,
being disconnected from your higher self.
I would tell you this first because you said give it to you short and sweet. So the truth of that, or the answer to that question in short, is loss. And loss for whoever didn't hear. So I will give you a quick little story of what that means. And I will paint a picture for you what that means. That means that you have come from a different land, right? And your mother and father took you to, let's say, Disneyland, right? Because you always wanted to go to Disneyland and they wanted to take you there, right? So you wound up at Disneyland and you traveled there with your parents because they wanted to reward you and you wanted to see what things are about. You wanted to see what Disneyland was about. But as soon as you got there, you noticed the rides and this, the toys and the gifts and the cotton candy and this and all these things. You strayed away from your parents. So to go on all these little adventures and experience these rides and stuff like that, you felt fulfilled, you felt happy because you was doing things. But time come and you notice after you've been on all these rides, enjoyed yourself well enough and good enough, fear set in. That you said, where's my parent? You felt lost. And you search and seek for your parents. After all the rides, after all the fun you had, you was lost from your parents that took you there. That's the analogy of one that is disconnected to the higher self, because the higher self is your parents.
Woo.
Right?
Yeah, that was a good one. That's good.
Right.
So let's tap into this inner journey.
Yeah.
I have questions. I created questions because I want to hear the things.
Yeah.
Let's tap into the inner journey.
Okay. Yeah.
Michael, I know you personally.
Yeah.
You know, from maybe I ain't gonna say the bottom up, but almost the bottom up, right?
Correct.
So this inner, I want the people to hear you, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to get all the way personal, but we raw and uncut.
Understood and respected.
However, what are some common blocks or fears that keep us from hearing our higher selves?
Well, common block, one major one is what the people before us have placed upon us, and that's certain beliefs and certain ways of thinking and being as far as oneself. And a lot of times, not saying that it was any malice behind it, but we come into the world like a little ones, like, and then that's the paradox because we come in this world and we know everything, but we can't express it because we are babies. We're not able to talk because we just coming from that which makes everything. So we do know everything, but we can't get across to, you get what I'm saying?
Because
Our
we
parents,
can't really
because we can't
verbalize
right.
it.
We can't,
yes.
right, you feel me? Now
Yes.
you could cry or you can make faces
Yes.
and your people could pick up, well, he want that, she want that. But
somewhat, because you could be crying for a wet diaper, but they sticking a bottle in your mouth,
right,
so they don't know what you're crying.
yeah, correct, right? But like a lot of times these people, you know, they don't, like I said, like they may not mean no harm. I don't think, you know, they don't mean no harm. They just try to pass on certain things to the child. And I mean, sooner or later, the child gonna grow up and become, you know, a teenager, dealt with all that. But you still carrying on what people taught you. And a lot of times it's about the main thing with that, like it be about like religion and stuff like that. Because when you're talking about religion, you're talking about your interaction with God, and God is the highest self that dwells in all human beings. So that be kind of like the roadblock because you are taught or you are told to go this way, but who says that's the right way? You just going by what someone else told you. So like that's a big hindrance and stuff, you know. That's a great big hindrance. And outside of that one, the greater one is people think that God is outside of himself.
Got you. Whew. This is getting,
this blown
getting
away.
a little more hot over here.
Yeah.
Question, Michael. Was there a pivotal moment in your life when you felt more connected to that in the wisdom?
Say it again. Let me.
Was there a pivotal moment in your life when you felt more connected to that inner wisdom? Meaning going back to that previous question, going from the blocks to just you feeling like, was it a pivotal moment? What was the pivotal moment when you felt connected to that inner wisdom? Like, what was that pivotal moment?
Oh, well, I suppose it was kind of like I always had a inner calling, like I always had an inner calling, like to really find out what's what or something like that. But at the same time, I wasn't willing, or I wasn't with accepting anything. Like, you know, people could tell me or preach about God and this and that and this and that, and I'm like, well, all right, that's cool, but show me. Like, I don't, like, if it's God like that, then why this happened? Why that happened? Or why all these, you know what I'm saying? Bad things happen or whatever like that. You know what I mean? So, bottom line, like, I wouldn't denounce a God, but at the same time, I'd be like, I don't, like,
you what God? Question it.
I question
you will
God.
Question it.
Yeah, I question God.
So, that was those were like pivotal moments when you started to question, or that's when you felt more connected when you started to question, is what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, like everything a paradox. So, like, you know, paradox mean two opposite things, but they mean the same. So it's like when I started questioning God and stuff like that, God made himself known to me. And I say that because my heart was sincere and pure in wanting to get an understanding.
The relationship.
Get a relationship, right.
Because some people would say they know God, but it's different when you have a relationship.
Right.
So it was pivotal once you started to build a relationship.
Right. It was like once I started like asking questions, but I really want to know, like, because I don't want to say, for example, like worship you or worship a thing or praise a thing or praise it, but not wholeheartedly knowing
who you're worshiping.
Yes, like that. You get what I'm saying?
Got you. That's gonna be a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
You know, we may hear that on your podcast or
Okay.
your YouTube channel. We may hear the
Alright.
complete discussion of that.
Right.
However,
right.
I gotta keep this rolling because we on a time, and like I said in the beginning, I know we'll keep going on.
Alright. Okay.
So,
Uh.
I'm not sure. You know, how do these things affect you, or what do you think? How do healing, shadow work, or stillness play in this whole process? Like, how do those things play in this process of getting to that higher self, or knowing that higher self, or even questioning things to get to that higher self?
First, I would say it's the intention on a person and the heart, because the heart is the center. Like, the heart is like the gas tank where you put the gas in. And I'm saying that and saying spirit is the gas and your heart is the tank that pumps the gas. So you can put regular, unleaded, super, or plus. Now we're talking about the spirit as being the gas in your heart.
Woo!
The heart is the gas tank.
I just did an episode maybe last week or the week before, and it was spiritual versus personal development. Spiritual development, personal development. And I stated in this ironic that you're using that example because I used a car.
Right.
The car is the body.
Right. That's correct.
But you need the gas to fuel it.
Right.
Right? Oh, that's I literally use that. Like, the car is personal development. The gas is spiritual development. Or vice versa. Something.
No, that's right. Like how you kind of
yeah, because when you have the spiritual, the personal development, you need the gas to fuel, which is the spiritual development.
That's right. Or the spiritual food. The
yes,
fuel that goes
it's
in
the fuel. Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very, very ironic that you just used that. And I said that in my previous episode in reference to personal and spiritual development. But yeah.
Let me find out you stealing my stuff.
I'm just saying. I mean, we have exchanged so much over the time.
Hey, like that sister said earlier, once I release it, ain't my stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead with that question. Did I finish answering, or go ahead? What you say?
I said, how do healing, shadow work, or stillness play in the process?
Okay. Well, yeah, like I'm saying, first the heart, so that's dealing with your intention. Like, you want to do these things, you want to get these things accomplished. For us, like, I guess ultimately in this one it'd be healing, because that's the goal, that's the objective in which you just mentioned. Okay, so first, the human being, the mankind, man, woman, has to be still. That meaning quiet the mind and still in internal conflict, to where as though you can reach out and transmit what you trying to tap into and receive, and as well coming back, you're able to receive it. That's the stillness, and what you're able to receive will transform you where you're able to heal, and you'll be healed by, that's like the healing by the power of love, or the power of the Almighty, the one that created you. So one has you said three things, right? What's those three things again? Because hold on,
healing, shadow work, and stillness.
Okay, well, yeah, I left out shadow work. But shadow work is when that's a process in the healing, where though you come out balanced. So that means that while you're healing, you're also able to observe the light side of you as well as the dark side. Your things that's good about you versus things that's bad about you. And put it all online and observe it yourself, and tidy up what you need to tidy up, and come into understanding of, okay, yeah, well, damn, I never knew I really act like this, or I could be like that, but yet it's still you are, and like this and that. So,
and the beat goes on.
And the beat goes on. There you go.
Okay. So since you gave us all of that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting on fire. It's a little more.
That
was just the beginning. So let's get into practical tools and daily practices, right?
All right.
What are some ways you connect your higher self on a daily basis? Like some of us may journal, meditate, spend time by yourselves, whatever. Like, what are some things that you do,
Uh-huh.
on a regular basis to connect to your higher self?
I mean, wow. I mean, one thing I can say with that is like, because now it's like I'm always connected, so I don't have to like you get all established or But I mean, I say like certain things, or like I say certain things like far as like, for example, if I'm resting, I wake up, and before I put my feet on the ground, I say certain things.
Hmm.
Before I walk out any door, I say certain things and stuff like that. But besides those type of things, it's just pretty much simple when it comes to that. It's just like always, if you keeping your creator first, or keeping the Most High first, or keeping, you know what I'm saying, the Almighty first, and you like really tapped into where though like don't do anything without consultation from that energy first. So all your moves and all your whole movement is coming from that standpoint to where though you know what I'm saying, like separate. So all your things, your every movement is because you got to think the God is constantly on your mind. So every movement you already tapped in with that. So you after you do the thing, you'll probably go back and like, father, mother, I did the right thing, right? Or I did a good job, and that's that. You like you
Got
always.
you, got you. So
Yeah.
you going a little ahead of yourself, because that was my following question.
Uh,
That you answered it because you knew that kind of went together, right?
right,
But my next
right.
question was, are there
Right.
certain questions you ask your higher self when you ask those things? It kind of went in alignment with coming from what you were saying, you
Yeah.
know, just certain questions you ask yourself because you know the difference between your personal self
Right, right,
and
right, right.
your higher self. So, are there certain questions you ask yourself, your higher self, when you have to step out of that
Yeah, of
personal
course.
element?
Yeah, of course. Because yes, of course. Because every human being, you know what I'm saying, we walk with two different energies. You know what I mean? So it may be certain times I could do things, but my intent would be good. Like I don't walk around with mouth. I don't do things out of malice, but at times I can do things, right? So then I may come back and ponder on it, and then I may ask my mother and father, like, did I do that off of ego stuff? Being 100, you get what I'm saying? With myself, with my shadow side. And they may answer, like, yeah, you was working out of ego when you did that and performed like that. Now, okay, bet, and double check that for the oncoming times or how I
Gotcha,
act in
gotcha,
the,
gotcha,
coming up in the future, God
gotcha,
willing.
gotcha,
Yeah, so
gotcha.
of course.
So, how do you strengthen trust in your intuition, especially, especially when it challenges your logic? Like when it challenges regular, like, logical
My
things.
intuition, you say, or
Yes, like, how do you
intuition?
trust? How do you strengthen trust in your intuition, especially when it challenges logic? Like, because it could be something that may be logical to you, but then your intuition may say something different. Like, how do you strengthen the trust in that?
Well, you got. I mean, that's pretty much by like, I guess maybe like trial and error, or just like really like kind of like letting go and see what happened, or like I guess you can kind of like judge them or put them like put it through little tests. Like you can say, okay, this may be the outcome, or that may be the outcome, right? But you already have a certain feeling on what you should go with, and you could. It's kind of complex. Like you could pretty much you gotta blend the logic and the intuitive part. You gotta blend it. Like you can feel something, but then how you know it's like that? Now you gotta use your logic side and try to come up with like a middle ground that's pretty much solid. And I mean, it's people say it's simple and stuff, but it's very tricky because like you don't know all the answers. Like,
Hey, what
you know what I mean?
what we was listening to
Yeah, you don't.
Gary V.
Yeah,
He
you
said you
don't-
don't know because you didn't make that.
Right.
You didn't
right,
go on that side, so you don't
Right.
know, and you will never know.
Right. No,
Good,
so,
good, good, good.
uh,
Look, we gonna keep this moving. Let me know if I need to slow down.
I'm just good. Like I like to smoke cigarettes. And I'm trying to smoke in front of you.
We ain't doing none of that. But let me know. So I'm gonna dive right on into this next part of my questions for you. Living from your higher self, right?
You're right.
What does living from your higher self look like in real time? Far as work, business, relationships, just decision making period. Like what does that look like? Living from that part of you, that higher self of you. Like what does that look like? And go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Well, in short, in true, live for your higher self, and where we live at now, in this place right here, living for your higher self is hard. I don't know who say what and this and that. Everything is, you get what I'm saying, love and light and stuff like that. Living for your higher self here is hard because most people here, most human beings here do not live from their higher self. So when you live from your higher self, you got a greater awareness of things. Now you have a greater responsibility of things, or you care about things that majority don't. So you take, I might get not pissed off. I might follow the fence when somebody walk on grass with their sneakers on, their boots on, versus walking on grass barefoot. You know what I mean? And that's a small thing. So now you're talking about other big things happening out here that's way worse than somebody walking on grass with boots on. So this is all the thing of living from a higher self. You have a responsibility to, I guess, keep your integrity, or you have to kind of tend to mankind because you know better.
So with all of that being said, can you share a recent example of a time you had to make a decision from your higher self? It could have been something simple. It could be something, but just something right offhand, maybe that you can think of that you had to make a decision from that.
Yeah, I really,
because I know you
yeah, I really,
may work from that space
yeah,
already.
So,
So just share something with my listeners. Just something. It could be something as simple as whatever. Like it.
Yeah, I really can't know, but I mean, only thing coming to mind right now, like if I ride by a person that is less fortunate and they ask for change, and like I have it or I don't have it, like it's something like that, because like that's the only thing I could kind of think of, like you get what I'm saying, off top right now. But like or like walking in somewhere and holding the door open for someone and somebody go in and they don't say thank you or something like that, and but then you like you get what I mean?
Like
you
that
know
was
how
just me. It wasn't
right.
them. Like,
You
it
feel
had
me?
nothing
So
to do about that.
it be little things like that that be kind of like, but
that you working on you, like your higher self, and not on the level on their level.
Because
it makes sense.
It's
So I don't know if you want to answer this in completely, but what's the biggest transformation you noticed by choosing this path?
Oh, that I don't know, is it lonely, or I don't really feel alone, but you like when you choose this path, like you pretty much you die and you was reborn a different thing, a different entity. So everything probably like from prior to your death and rebirth, everything like is changed. People don't look at you the same, and you don't look at them the same.
Got you. So guys, we're getting to the end of this finally, right? But I want you, this is a listener's takeaway challenge. And I want you to, what's one simple practice or challenge you will offer listeners to try this week to help them connect with their higher selves? And this is for my listeners.
Oh, okay.
Something
Right.
that you would challenge them to do, to try. I'm saying this week because this is this week's episode, but they can do it later, whatever. Something that you will offer for them to try to do to help them connect with their higher selves.
All right. One little thing. I would I would say everyone you meet this week, if it's a male, greet the man's brother. And if it's a woman, greet the man's sister. And I want you to be sincere with this because it's going to show you something. It's going to show you who you are or you willing to be and how it's not many like you. I'm saying this because you'll say this, hey brother, or excuse me sister, and you coming from a good place. You coming from a place that's tapped into a higher self or on your way tapping into a higher self. Now watch how many people greet you back the same.
That's a good one. That's going to have unity in our people and in our community. That's a good one.
That's correct.
So, guys, in the final notes, we are coming to an end. I know it was juicy. I kind of got through it. And I thank Michael so much for joining us today. And thank you for sharing your insight and truth.
No problem.
I know this conversation will inspire so many to go inside, right? To look deeper and to lead, like to look to them higher selves. Because, some people think or may feel that they're at a level, which is fine, right? Which is fine. But some of the insight that you shared with us may have them look in another direction or go to a different step.
I hope so, not truly. Pray that, someone, if not everyone, someone gets something from this that'll help them on their journey and path through this thing called life, which you will only end up meeting yourself, who, made it all possible for you to be here. And I thank you for having me here and allowing me to speak with your peoples. And hopefully I'll be brought back to do it again.
My pleasure. Guys, let me know if you have any questions ahead of time. I'm looking forward to this. Leave comments, leave your reviews, and don't forget to share this episode with anyone that you feel are looking for them higher selves. Until next time, keep pursuing you. Peace. Stay blessed.
Word for dinner.